Here we go. It's another edition of Rock Talk with Bob Bannister. This time around, connecting with Chicago's own Primal Moon. Joining us is the lead singer, Joe Brunker. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
It's awesome to have you here. Now, just a little bit of a geek out on my part here. I noticed I was creeping on your Facebook page there. I noticed that you have listed that you live in Aurora, Illinois.
Oh
Happens.
yeah, I hang with Wayne and Garth every
There you
now and
go.
then.
I had to go there. I'm sorry. It's a Canadian thing.
It's totally all right.
Most excellent. That was more Bill and Ted. But anyway,
Wild Stallions.
there you go. That's another great franchise. Haven't seen the third one yet, but one of these days.
It was all right.
Yeah.
Definitely nowhere near, the first two, but still all right.
No, that's cool. So tell us, who is Primal Moon?
Oh, well, we are comprised of five people. There's Tony Tessari, the drummer, Brian Alberts, guitar, keys, mix of other instruments. Luke Pope on the bass, and Justin Stockton also on the guitar. And then me, I sing and I write the lyrics.
There you go. And how long of this has this band been together? This current lineup?
The current lineup, we added Justin about 2 years and 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And we've been a band. I joined the band about 3 months after they started in 2018, played a show as a band called Blue Vision, and then I joined in like February or March of 2019. So
Okay.
5 years now. Yeah,
Oh
and then
wow.
we became Primal Moon in October
Right on. Right on.
of that year.
Cool. And now I know that you're not just the front man, you're also the head promo guy. Very, very active on social media and getting out there and holding signs on street corners and
They d- they uh they definitely do a lot of the social media stuff. I also do like my own social media,
right.
promo, just because that's all I've ever done. But yeah, I definitely enjoy doing guerrilla marketing, just different ways of catching the eye. And if people, I just play the rule of seven and like heavily hit a certain area, and
Right.
so that they see it seven times and are forced. I basically forces the hand.
That's right. Because the rule of seven, you repeat it seven times, it becomes a habit, right?
Yeah, it's like that. It usually takes about seven times for somebody to click on something on social media after seeing it so many times.
Right on. And I think that's how I first heard of Primal Moon was through social media. And I went and I clicked on the album, I listened to it, and lo and behold, it became one of my top 10 albums of 2023. Everybody
Thank you
here,
so much.
you're quite welcome. Everybody here at CGCM Rock Radio, we all, when it gets to, I'd say, early November, we all start compiling lists of our favorite albums of that year. So all throughout the year, we're listening to everything that we can get our hands on, and we're compiling a list, and we're always doing shows about how our list is changing, each individual DJ.
Yeah.
Primal Moon went bam right into the top 10, and it stayed there. It did not move. It's a solid album.
Well, thank you. We definitely had a fun time recording that album, writing the album. It was definitely a lot. It took us a year to
Mm-hmm.
fully record it. And just because we went back in sessions and weekend sessions. And
Okay.
yeah, it was definitely a heavy labor, but it was a good one.
I like how every song has that Primal Moon flavor, but every song is different. It gives the album a real listenability, in my opinion.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, well, it was kind of just Justin had just joined when we started recording the album. Like
Mhm.
this one's for you. He actually wasn't. there for that recording session with This One's For You and Paralyzed. But he joined soon after we had recorded the first time, and we had him the next few times in the studio, and that's kind of where spinning developed. He definitely helped us write a lot of cool. He wrote a lot of cool riffs to
Mm.
bring some different flavor to Primal Moon.
And
And
I think
what?
spinning is the perfect way to kick off an album. It's a great track.
Oh, without doubt, it definitely hits in the beginning. You know, it opens up and it gets people kind of into it, and that's kind of why we use it a lot of times as our show opener.
That makes a lot of sense. And you've done a couple videos as well. This one's for you and Take Off. And I do have to ask you, I've watched Take Off a couple times there. Just how cold was it filming that video? I mean, I'm seeing everybody's breath and
It was really cold. The fog machine was supposed to work in there, but it froze. So we were pretty cold. It took like 20 minutes to get the generator started so that we had any light in there. It was, but we were grateful for the people who let us use their barn. We were just looking for a place to go and shoot.
right.
And this lady offered us her barn, and we were like, "Oh yeah, heck yeah!" But we went in the middle of winter, and it was a tundra, but it was also super muddy in the barn. So we were
Okay.
like splashing mud every time we moved. It was fun though. And
It
the
looks like.
video came out awesome, so we were happy.
Yeah, I'm thinking that that Chicago winters are a lot like the winters that we get here in Gray Bruce. Like we're just off where I'm based in is a small town called Owen Sound, and of course we're on the Great Lakes, just like Chicago. You know,
Mhm.
you're a little further south than we are, but we still get the same lake effect crap that everybody else on the Great Lakes gets.
Gotta love it, right?
Absolutely. Wouldn't live anywhere else. I mean, sure, I might move to Toronto, but you still get the Great Lakes crap that you're going to get everywhere else.
I mean, honestly, Canada is a beautiful place. Every time I've gone, I've loved it.
It is a great country. And you know what? I got to say the same thing for yours. I worked a couple years down in Pennsylvania at a camp down there and just had an absolute blast. Haven't been to Chicago yet, but one of these days.
I actually lived out in Pennsylvania when I went to rehab when I was 18.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Right
Yeah.
on.
I was out there for 8 months in Amish country. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was in just northeast of Scranton.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was near in between Harrisburg and Rearsburg, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that Scranton, Wilkes-Barre kind of hub area.
All around there, yeah.
Yeah, great place. Great place around there. And you know what? I'm noticing a lot of things in the music industry lately. The North American music scene is becoming a little more fragmented. I having had worked in AM radio kind of forces you to be a bit of a music historian. And I know back in the 50s and the 60s and everything, there was a lot of regional acts that became regionally famous. And I'm noticing the same thing is happening nowadays. Is that something that you're noticing as well? Like Primal Moon will be big in the Chicago area, but you go 100 miles either way and it's not as big.
I mean, like we're still pretty growing in that sense. We've definitely started to spread a little further,
Right.
and now we've kind of the further out we go within the like Midwestern area, the more if we usually get some invites back,
Right.
and we found like the last time I was out at a place that we had gotten invite back to, bunch of like 40-some-year-old guys, 50-some-year-old guys came up to me and they were like, you guys were the reason that we came for this show. And we had played with Enough's Enough that night. So it
Oh,
was kind of
cool.
cool. It was kind of cool to hear that the group of guys came for us, I don't know, because Enough's awesome. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
yeah.
I also like the way that it seems like everything that was the 80s all coming back again.
Oh
All those
yeah.
all those great 80s bands.
For sure. I'm excited to, see more of how that affects the genre of rock right now. If 80s starts to become a more prevalent sound in general, I know that would be pretty sweet.
Well, I think we're in the midst of a revival right now. One of my buddies from the radio station, he's over in Sweden right now. He's at Sweden Rocks, and a lot of the bands there. Yeah, Priest is playing there or has played there, and there's all these other bands, and they're very '80s influenced. And I think it's gonna, for lack of a better term, hop across the pond and
Yeah,
start raising its head again. I think we're gonna move away from the prefabricated pop stuff.
that would be
Uh,
wonderful, honestly. Moving away from that area, but I know it's always going to be there. Quite honestly, I mean, once a genre of music is like introduced, it's kind of hard to ever fully get rid of it. You had grunge and then you had post grunge, which is kind of like mellower grunge. I don't know. It's Creed.
exactly. Exactly. But you know what? You can't really take away from it because there was some good stuff that did come out of the grunge era. And,
I
and,
agree.
I mean, Alice in Chains still one of my favorite bands.
Alice in Chains. I love Nirvana's hooks. They had really catchy hooks. And I mean, bands were formed out of it. Some them Crooked Vultures from
Oh, definitely.
yeah,
Definitely. And the Foo
exactly.
Fighters
So
to
like
evolve
Foo
from that.
Fighters, exactly. And
Absolutely.
even Novoselic's other band, he's in like a folk sort of bluegrass band, and they're pretty good too.
That's right. That's right. I forgot all about that. That's very
Yeah,
cool. So where do you draw
yeah.
your musical influences from, Joe?
I'm all over the map, honestly. I kind of listen to everything under the sun, honestly. Like I used to be really big into house music in high school. I
Mm,
was into like I in like when I was a kid, I was into all like the top 40, but then I was also into Oldies 104.3, which was a station in Chicago that used to always play all the oldies music, and that's kind of where I started on like Temptations and all like the pop and Motown and
yeah.
60s music. I loved Clyde McPhatter, I loved the Beatles, I loved the Stones. And that's kind of, I just loved it all, and whatever came my way, and
Very
I
cool.
kind of started singing it. My first song I ever sang was at my fourth grade talent show, and it was "Love Me Do" by the
Oh,
Beatles.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. So then what would you say is your desert island album?
Oh shoot. Uh I'm gonna have to say Dispatch Location 12.
Okay. That's it. That's an
Yeah.
interesting choice. That's an interesting
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah, I know. It's because it's I don't know, they play all over the place and their harmonies are pretty wonderful.
Yeah.
Uh they put on a really amazing performance, and they really care for one another on stage.
And that's really something that I think turns a lot of people onto a band. If you go and you see them live and they've got that chemistry, it makes that physical copy of the album or any music released by that band that much better. You've seen them live, you've seen how they interact with each other, and it's just like, yeah, these guys are the real deal. These guys are for real.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they know how to work with one another. They see how each other works, and they go with it. You know, they
Absolutely.
learn how to compromise.
That's right. That's right. So a couple more questions here before we wrap this up. Then do you have a guilty pleasures album? One that if I came over to your house and I was going through your music collection and I'd pull out and go, Joe, what's this?
Oh, dang! I'm gonna have to say, hmm. Definitely. That's tough. I don't even know what to get. I mean, I'm guessing Bowling for Soup's first album.
Oh, there you go. That works.
That's a guilty pleasure. Like,
Right on. Right on. I gotta say mine's probably Purple Rain. I mean,
Purple. That's a great album, though. That is
it is a great
amazing.
album. It is a great album. But if you look through my collection, there's like Van Halen and Metallica and Megadeth and Ozzy and Kiss. And then you get Prince, Purple Rain, right in the middle of that. It's like one of
Even
these
better.
things is not like the other, you know?
Great mix.
Absolutely.
10 out of
Absolutely.
10 players.
There you go. All right, so we're going to wrap this up with a segment I like to call This or That. It's just a few rapid fire questions. You choose this or that, and we'll go from there. So, starting things off, summer or winter?
Winter.
All right, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Wars.
Festival gig or club gig?
Festival gig.
Okay. Now, here's the $1,000,000 question, Cubs or Sox?
White Sox all day.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
Don't
Deep
tell
di-
the Cubby Bear.
I'm just glad I didn't wear my Cubs hat. Uh, deep dish or pub style?
Uh, Deep pub style. I
There you
like
go.
both.
and then finally the raging debate: pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Heck no. No, I can't do it. I can't. It's just I'm not big in fruit on pies. Why put it on my pizza pie? Like that's just my thing.
All right. There you go. There you go. All right, Joe Brunker from Primal Moon. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Rock Talk. Why don't you hit us up with your website?
Oh yeah, we are at primalmoonband.com. We're also on Instagram at Primal Moon Band, Twitter or whatever it's called now, X.
X.
Yeah, we're gonna try to start posting more on there. We don't really do too much with it. We kind of gave up on it years ago, but we're trying to revive it, But yeah, I think we are also on TikTok now. We're getting there. We're starting to keep up with the time.
Awesome. Thank you again. This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.